We're live. Hello,
Whoa!
It's all right. It's not that scary. It's not that scary. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good, actually. Back in the
Excellent.
UK now. Only been
Yeah,
about 2
good.
weeks, but back in the UK now.
Right. So what are you enjoying now you're back in the UK? What are you missing now that you're not?
Oh, it's not the weather and it's not the view. I definitely missed the weather back where I was, and I
Yep.
definitely missed the view because you caught up with me, right, while I was out there, out in Bangladesh, and I had the view of the river, and it was sunny. It was hot, but it was sunny, and it was the river, and that's what I'm missing.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's good to be back in the UK. And actually, one of the things I discovered was that no matter how much I want to be a digital nomad, you can't beat being in location. So I'm fired up now.
Okay, I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm glad you're only this big on my screen. I'll tell you that now.
It's just as well I'm from the. You can't see me from this bit downwards, isn't it?
Don't even go there. So thanks very much for coming on my brand new show. Right. It's 15 minutes for accountants and bookkeepers, and you know, it's such an amazing community. I just want all of the community to know that we're here to help them, and so every single week I'm going to be talking to wonderful people like yourself, finding out a little bit about what you do. So first thing is, tell me a little bit about yourself, Emanur.
So personally, actually, I'm a bit of a chameleon, I suppose. I am an accountant. At least I was for BBC
Sorry,
Radio.
did you say chameleon or comedian?
Oh, you take your pick, Ashley. You take your pick. I defer the labels to everybody else, but no, I actually was an accountant. Used to work for BBC Radio. Then I moved into technology. It's been a long time. So I'm an accountant and a technologist. I was actually a chief technology officer at the London Stock Exchange. So yeah, both hybrid, Mr. Hybrid. Me.
Okay, so being an accountant, you're well placed to help accountants, eh?
Absolutely, and better than that, I'm married to an accountant, and we have our own practice, so it's kind of compulsory. It's mandatory, mate.
Absolutely,
there's no avoiding it.
So we got Jonathan watching. So he really is a comedic accountant. So and this is the thing, right? As you know, I've been in this space working with accountants for the last 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, oh, why do you want to work with accountants? They're all grey and boring. Well, not the ones that I meet. And I bet it's the same with you, isn't it?
Well, actually, think about it. I'm an accountant and an IT person. I'm in the two most terrible stereotypes known to man. You know, if I introduce myself as a tech guy, I get the same response as if I do, if I introduce myself as an accountant. But thankfully, these kinds of events actually kind of smash the stereotype. Well, technology people are interesting, man. And so are accountants. That's what I say.
And I've been working with them for the last, Jonathan's saying summer. I've been working with them, all that time, because that's how I got into accountancy, was working for a technology company. So what is it you actually do then?
So I gave my wife the best gift humanly possible. Nobody can top this. So I'm married to a chartered accountant. We have our own practice. She ran into client retention problems in 2008. So I built her a practice management solution. Yeah. That's what I did. So I run Onco, which is a cloud practice management solution. It's a little bit different to everything else because our focus is not on workflow. It's on retaining clients. It is way cheaper to keep clients, man, than to find new ones. It's kind of what I think. So that's what I do.
Do you know, I learned this donkeys years ago when I was waiting tables at my uncle's hotel. And he used to have, like, I don't know, 99% return customers. And because you knew what week it was by who was staying. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones were always the first week of June and all of that stuff. So as long as we looked after them, they came back next year.
Absolutely.
So look, we're going back a long time when I was waiting tables in my uncle's hotel. But you know, he wouldn't have spent anything on marketing because he didn't need to. And this is the thing. And I speak to so many accountants. All right, how do I get new business? Right, why don't you stop the ones you've got from leaving? So how? And the other thing is, this is a weird thing. Back in 2008, there wasn't an awful lot of practice management solutions out there. So I guess the obvious choice was to build something rather than.
Well, Building actually came a little bit further on in the journey. It actually came a little bit further on because I started building Onco about kind of 5 years ago. But what happened between 2008 and making the decision to build was basically in 2008, we realized that our churn rate had increased. We normally had like 99% client retention rate. It had fallen to something like 80, 81, 82%. And when I did an exercise with former clients, right, and some existing clients to try and work out what was happening. And to be honest, it's really simple. Domino's, Amazon, people wanted a pizza experience from their accountant too. To put it simply, they just wanted it to be a little bit more interactive. They wanted more communication. They wanted to feel loved, right? So actually what we did in 2008 was we hired, and this is crazy, right? 2008, we had a customer services person. I'm not joking. We literally employed somebody who, we're talking about 2008, right? Clients would drop off papers. They would call the clients and say, hey, we've got your papers. We're going to schedule in your work for next week. And then we'd schedule in the work and they would call the clients and say, hey, you know what? We're just starting your work. You might get some queries from us over the next 2 or 3 days and then whatever. And we started doing this much more interactive thing with our clients. And that pulled our client retention rate back up to 99%. But there's a cost to that. Anybody, accountants and bookkeepers on this call know that having a dedicated person like that, it was costing us about $24,000 a year. So up rocks the IT guy. Yeah, look, we can automate some of this stuff. We can create a tool to handle some certain aspects of this, and let's go and do that. And that's how Onco came about. So we don't spend $24,000 a year anymore. We spend $2,800 a year on an Onco subscription. And and we've enjoyed 99% client retention ever since.
That
makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And so you've come around practice management from a totally different angle than a lot of practice management solutions. So there's no secret. I used to work for Digital.
Yeah.
And they absolutely knock tax software at the park. It's just a really amazing solution.
Yeah.
But because all of their customers wanted accounts and then corporation tax and stuff like that, so they built all of that, and then they built the practice management solution.
Yes.
But they built it with all of the accountants in mind.
Yes.
Rather than your wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because your wife had a retention problem. That's what you built. But then I guess when did the day come when you realized that, oh my goodness, other people might buy this?
We the concepts have been developing for a while, right? Because we had the customer services person, we were putting in processes, procedures, checklists, all this kind of stuff to drive up client retention. Then when we got to the 99%, we started looking at the cost, the $24,000 a year, like I said. But the approach that we took was very, very different. And this is a pet bugbear of mine, actually, as you know. You talk to people about practice management and their eyes glaze over because they immediately think workflow. And I've said it a dozen times. I'm going to say it here again. Workflow is just the cost of being an accountant. Okay. If you're rubbish at it, you're going to lose clients and you go out of business. If you're brilliant at it, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. It's the Uber driver who says that, I do a great roaring trade and it's because I use Goodyear tires. No, it's not, right? It's because of the Uber app, is my point. But when I started it, we started from first principles. And it starts with a very simple question. What is it that an accountant actually does? And the answer to that question is nearly always tied up in those compliance products. Oh, they do tax returns. No, they don't. They don't do any of that stuff. What an accountant actually does is provide a service to a client. And therefore, any solution for an accountant which doesn't have client and service at its heart doesn't fit the bill. And that's what we ended up doing. So I actually started building a service management and client management solution. And practice management and the other stuff kind of fell out of it, right? Because you kind of have to do that. And I think that's where some of these things have gone wrong. And even in our own practice, right? I'm not going to name the vendor, but we put in a very expensive practice management solution many years ago. My wife has forgiven me, I think. She certainly should have by now, because I took her to spending £5,000 a year on software to £20,000 a year by bringing in this large name vendor solution. And then 2 years later, we had to exit it because it was about workflow, and it's not what accountants actually do. We service clients, and to manage our business, we need to be able to manage our service and manage our clients. Everything else that we do, that's just the content of the service. And for that, like you said, you mentioned Digita, right? You mentioned Digita and other vendors, and there are great compliance products out there. I don't step into the compliance space, right? I'm not trying to write a payroll system or anything like that. Why would I? I'm saying that practice management is more exciting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So would your solution work in other professional practices?
Yes. Yeah, it does.
And that's the thing. So if you're gonna build a tax program,
yeah,
it's only going to be useful for accountants and
Absolutely.
bookkeepers. Whereas,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Cool.
The truth is that professional services, actually, I mean, even the stuff that you do, right? Professional services, the content of the service may be different, right? The content of the service may be different, but the challenges and the principles of delivering that service are the same. They're the same, right?
Absolutely. And this is just what Jonathan's saying. Customer service is so important. Look, so you had this person in that was the customer service manager.
Yes.
And basically you wrote a bit of software to replace them.
Yes.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So you've been working with accountants and bookkeepers for how long then?
Oh, good Lord. So if I count my wife, who I've been free IT support for, probably 22, 23 years, right? Going through all of the pains that we had with our own practice, and then with Onco, I've been working directly with the community probably for about 3 to 5 years now.
Yeah. And what sort of challenges are you seeing them have at the moment?
I always see the same challenge. Funnily enough, it's never growing or not growing. It's growing safely, which is a very different concept, right? There's a lot of stuff in the community. I think a lot of messaging around growing, adding clients, building great quotes, mastering the sales meeting, all of that stuff. But there's a really important thing is that you do all of that. You do the lead generation, you convert your client, and now they're in your machine, right? They're in your machine. You've got them in your practice. You've got them as a client. They're in your machine. How are you going to keep them in the machine? Because if you don't do that properly, then I've had, Onco customers that I've worked with who've come to me with that kind of problem, right? That I'm losing revenue as fast as I'm adding it, right? Or I'm growing, right? But I am losing my older clients, right? Now, sometimes that can be deliberate, right? In our practice, we've actually gone through 2 complete revamps of our client base where we fired pretty much 75% of our client base. But growing safely is the challenge. And, Ashley, look, you're on LinkedIn as often as much as I am, right? You see all those posts, hey, I've stopped taking new clients. I'm not being cynical, but the reason why you've stopped taking new clients is probably because there's a few things you need to fix.
So do you go on and post?
Give me a no, chat. I don't. I'm very nice about it, mate. But in truth, the thing is that your machine, because accountants, we have a very privileged business, by the way. So in our practice, our oldest client has been with us over 25 years. The business has passed through generations, and they're still with us.
Yeah.
You know how much money we've made from this client? That's a privilege.
Yeah,
that's a privilege.
Absolutely.
People always talk about accounting services being grudge purchases, right? Oh, it's compliance. Yeah, but it might be a grudge purchase, but service that client, they could be with you for 20 years. How many businesses can say that?
Yeah, not
How many professional service businesses can say that? Solicitors can't. It's all one-off transactions, right?
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Keep the client for donkey's years.
Yeah, if you do the right thing.
If you do the right thing.
Yeah, no, super duper. Jonathan's got a question here.
Oh yeah.
Who monitors and tweaks your automated systems?
Who monitors me? Well, okay. So I'm going to take this question in 2 contexts, right? So if we look at it from the point of view of my wife's practice, then it's me. If you look at it from the point of view of Onco, Actually, and this is what works for my wife as well, because we have custom widgets and custom dashboards, and people can build and monitor whatever they want, right? Our customers do it themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
There's an interesting point here, actually, and Jonathan, you may agree with this. Actually, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. In my experience, what I found is that when you get to about 20, 25 employees, right, most businesses, their sales process and their positioning may look different, but their back offices look the same. But below 20, 25 employees, it's the Wild West. No two of my customers run their practice in the same way. So the idea of having predefined KPIs, metrics, dashboards, I don't get it. I don't see how it can possibly work. There is no one size fits all. And, actually, you work with accountants, I work with accountants, and I've never seen two accountants run their businesses in the same way at all.
Yeah.
So it needs an element of customization, which is why we kind of went for, flexibility, customization, build your own dashboard, build your own KPIs. So
your solution is a bespoke suit rather than something out of Top Man or something like that.
Yeah, it's more like, the way I talk about it is that, at Onco, we don't build features. I don't build features. What I build is capabilities. And our customers use those capabilities to solve any number of business problems that they might face. And I think we've kind of hit this point in the curve now where actually, to be honest, the great ideas for how to use Onco aren't coming from me anymore.
No, your community are doing it.
They're coming from customers.
Yeah.
They're coming from customers. And there's been some cool stuff.
I was chatting to someone the other day, was saying how wonderful it is. So they have lovely things to say about you. So Jonathan's question was, who within the accountancy practice is making the tweak? So partner level, or is it junior manager? Partner level.
Partner.
Yeah, okay.
Partner. Ours is a small practice, right? It's a small practice. Although I did a post recently, actually, I don't know if you saw that, Ashley or Jonathan, about Sue's 20-year journey, our 20-year journey with our practice. We actually had, 20 years ago, we had 500 clients. Today, we have 400, right? 20 years ago, I think we had 14 staff. Today, we have 4. And profits are double.
Wow.
Profits are double, right? And a lot of that is about technology, client retention, focus on customer service. So we have, the way I think about it is we're making double the money with half the aggro.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
But the direct answer to Jonathan's question, I apologize, Jonathan, if I haven't answered it. It's the partner, so my wife.
Yeah, cool, fantastic.
She looks at that stuff.
We've run out of time already.
Have we? It's so much fun.
What's your top tip that accountants and bookkeepers can do right now, then, Emanur?
Call a client for no reason at all.
Oh, I love that.
That's it.
That is priceless.
Do you know what we did, Ashley?
I'm writing this down.
One of the very first things that we did in 2008 was create a call sheet. So Sue's PA would create her a call sheet of all the clients that she should call every single month for no reason at all. Right? What she does now is, because Onco is so configurable, she can create her own call list actually on Onco, and every month she has a list of clients to call. And she doesn't call them for tax or anything like that. She just calls to see, hey, how you doing? How are things? And then she has notes. How's little Johnny? You bought a new house. How's that going? It's the personal touch. So that's my top tip. Call a client now for nothing at all.
Right, go and do that, Jonathan. Do you have a great story of how you've helped an accountant or a bookkeeper?
Yeah, actually, just recently.
Yeah,
just recently, actually. So I have a customer who came on with us about 18 months ago, 18 to 24 months. I think, he's in his second year now. And when he came on board, he was a little bit skeptical about the reason, not the reason why he'd come, but the marketing that he'd responded to. So the marketing he'd responded to was about Sue's taxathon. So in our practice, we run a taxathon every year, and consistently 4 or 5 years in a row, we get, I think the best performance we've had is Sue got, last year, she got 99.99% of her tax returns done by the 1st of December. She did no tax returns in December at all. And in January, I think she had 12 to submit, right? So he was very skeptical about that. Anyway, came on board, took on Onco, and he took on Onco. He started working with me. I run a success program, which is kind of like a coaching and mentoring program actually within Onco for our customers. And then this year, guess what? He thought about it. He started it. And he's on track. And when I was talking to him, he couldn't believe it himself. For the first time, he's on target to get 90% done by 1st of December. And that, and you know, the whole thing about achieving something like that, as you know, actually, you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
But you got to have the tools to monitor, right? And that's what he did. He's got a taxathon. He created a dashboard in Onco for the taxathon. He's got the key metrics that he's looking at, monitoring those. The team is looking at those metrics as well. So nothing like a set of numbers to focus the mind, right? Because we're accountants.
Everybody in the team is on board,
Yes.
and they're all checking it rather than someone. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that is brilliant news. That is brilliant. Okay, how can people get hold of you?
Well, onco.com is our website, so that's the way to get a hold of us. A way to get hold of me personally is LinkedIn or just my name, Emanur@onco.com by email.
Perfect. I've got one more question for you. I don't want the answer just yet because I'm gonna share something. What did you want to be when you were at primary school? So don't tell me now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to shout about next week, because you ain't the only accountant, right?
Yeah.
To build their own software. We've got young Nicola Hageman coming on next week to talk all about fresh pay. So this is a fresh approach to payroll. And so she's coming in to talk all about that. So another exciting conversation, eh?
That is fantastic.
So
I love it when the tools come from the profession. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait. So you're further on down the road. It'd be interesting for you to come on and have any comments and stuff. But looking forward to speaking to Nicola next week. So your question then, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were at primary school?
Cartoonist.
Oh, really?
I'm a cartoonist.
That is amazing.
I actually am a cartoonist.
So you can draw cartoons?
Yes. And caricatures and stuff. Yeah.
Go on. Quick.
So this is why technology was really the best place for someone like me to end up. Because contrary to popular opinion, actually technology is both, kind of scientific, logical, but it's also very, very creative, right? So it took me a while to find, the right place for me, but the right marriage of, kind of my logical brain and my creative brain was technology. So yeah, I wanted to be a cartoon. I wanted to work for Disney, man, because I love Jungle Book.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah. That's brilliant. What a lovely chat. Thank you so much for coming today.
Great to be here, Ashley.
And thanks to everybody for all your lovely comments. And this is just thanking us for our time. Thank you. So yeah, you know how to get hold of this guy. And I will see you next week when we talk to Nicola. Nice to see you, Emanur. Cheerio now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Cheers.